CBSN political contributor and Republican strategist Leslie Sanchez is here. Hey, Leslie.
Hey,
good to see you.
Good. It's campaign season.
It is campaign season. So listen, Leslie, the president didn't mention Donald Trump by name, but he ripped into many of Trump's comments on the issues like immigration, healthcare, taxes. Is President Obama likely to be a force, a significant force in how this election plays out?
He certainly can be. He's extremely popular. He's getting more popular as he's moving away from being in office. So everybody's kind of coming together and kind of putting a legend, a pinpoint in terms of what he was able to do transforming America, but they're ready to move on to the next stage. I think Republicans are ready to end the Obama administration. This is where it gets tricky for Hillary Clinton. She's going to say, I don't want a third term of Barack Obama. I want a third term of Bill Clinton. And she'd been distancing herself. He's talking about immigration. She's flip-flopped on a variety of positions on immigration. He's talking about the economy. She's not necessarily put out an economic plan that is that consistent with his own. And more importantly, on trade, she's flip-flopped on everything from TPP to NAFTA, and all. She's not consistent with Barack Obama's policies. So which side of the aisle? And that, a lot of that has to do with moving to the left because of reaction to Bernie Sanders. Right. So it's in platitudes and in big kind of optics, it's a beautiful speech. It's a powerful one, but really when it comes to the issues, Hillary Clinton's not lockstep with Barack Obama. Right,
and he clearly is trying to protect his legacy. Going back to Elkhart, he touts that as a success story of his presidency. Let's listen to President Obama take on Trump on some of those issues.
But the truth is, trade has helped our country a lot more than it's hurt us. Exports helped lead us out of the recession. Companies that export pay workers higher wages than folks who don't export. And anybody who says that somehow shutting ourselves off from trade is going to bring jobs back, they're just not telling the truth.
All right, Leslie, so this stance that you just heard from the president, taking on what is Donald Trump's, one of his stump policy issues, trade, is the president's position in a way helpful to Donald Trump in some of those states where they're not happy with the Obama trade position?
Absolutely. He sounded more Republican right there than he did any of the people running for president right now. And if you have to remember, in 2007, he was running an ad against Hillary Clinton in South Carolina, accusing her of flip-flopping on trade and actually being pro-trade. So we've come a long way in terms of full circle on the trade issue. The truth is you have a lot of working class white voters who are in a lot of these Rust Belt states that feel trade has had a negative effect. I think economically, if you look at the numbers, there's enough empirical evidence to show trade is really strong in keeping the Western Hemisphere vibrant and competitive. But making that case to people that have lost their jobs, feel their wages are depressed, is a really tough political case to make.
Hillary Clinton is vulnerable with white working class male voters. Can President Obama help in any way with that, or is he going to hurt her?
He may be able to bring the coalition around. You have the conservative Democrats that still exist in that Rust Belt area that have tended to go ahead and pull the lever blue. If he can bring them back into the fold, because you have a fractured Democratic coalition, certainly with Bernie Sanders. So you're seeing the young vote more inclined not to come back in. So she has to pick up some of that white vote. The reality is, if you look at demography, Republicans can't rely on all white working class voters, and Democrats can't rely on all minority voters.
Right.
They have to have a crossover for each one of them to be a majority.
Well, Bernie Sanders is doing very well with some of those white middle class voters, is because mathematically Senator Sanders is all but eliminated from this race. Now there's still always a chance, but the math is not in his favor. Could he bring some of those voters into Hillary Clinton's camp?
The Democrats would like to say that they could, but that's a really tough argument to make. I think the 20%, maybe a little bit higher than that, have decided they just don't like Hillary Clinton for a lot of reasons. They feel that she's not trustworthy. She has really high unfavorables. They've already had their taste of the Clintons for many, many decades, and they really don't want to see a continuation of that. They want something new that breaks up an establishment system. It's going to be extremely difficult to bring those folks back in.
All right, let me ask you about something else. In other Trump news, the PGA Tour announced on Wednesday it's going to move the World Golf Championships from Trump's resort in Miami to Mexico City next year because of a new sponsorship. Donald Trump responded on Fox News. Let's take a look.
I just heard that the PGA Tour is taking their tournament out of Miami and moving it to Mexico, as an example. They're taking it, it's at Doral, it's at, they use one of my places. They're moving their tournament. It's the Cadillac World Golf Championship, and Cadillac's been a great sponsor, but they're moving it to Mexico. They're moving it to Mexico City, which, by the way, I hope they have kidnapping insurance. But they're moving it to Mexico City. And I'm saying, you know, what's going on here? It is so sad when you look at what's going on with our country.
And you've talked.
All right, Leslie, the PGA said that this move was not political, but the speculation obviously is there. What are your thoughts, especially when you hear a comment like that? I mean, I've been to Mexico City. I'm sure you have as well.
Sure.
Don't need kidnapping insurance.
No,
I don't recall needing any kidnapping insurance.
No, and Mexico's working very hard to kind of brush away that issue, which you do have a lot of narco trafficking. You can't deny the fact that it's a very dangerous along the U.S.-Mexico border, but it is much safer and much more economically viable. If you think about the number of engineers, for example, coming out of Mexico City, is topping the Western Hemisphere. So we really have to be mindful that Mexico is trying to be competitive, and the issue is money. You have Grupo Salinas, which is one of the richest men in Mexico, has come forward to be the sponsor in a multi-year deal. And it's just showing you the vibrancy of the Western Hemisphere, the fact that other people are stepping up and they're going to make it competitive. And the reason they probably stepped up may have to do with the fact Trump made some very disparaging comments about Mexico. And it might be a little personal there.
It may be. They say it's not. They say it's not political, but clearly a lot of people.
Some people decided to step up and show a different side of Mexico that involves a lot more dollar signs and economic prosperity, and just a different face for Mexico, and it's good for them.
All right. We'll have to see how it plays out. Leslie Sanchez, always good to see you. Thank you.